All right, what's up, guys? This is King Cringe again, here with Subverted Subversions episode 2. I have my now co-host with me, Jesse Larkins.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right, and then today we also have a very special guest with us, the King of the Seas, Phil Rod. What's up, man?
Shalom, everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, obviously, if you didn't know, Phil Rod's a super cool author. He wrote The Raft, very awesome book. I reviewed it, and Jesse's gonna review it, right?
Yeah, I've got a review coming soon. It's basically done. I just kind of wanted to record this first before I dropped it,
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
but it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm really stoked on all the feedback and reviews and attention it's gotten. I really didn't think it would get that many eyeballs on it, but yeah, people seem to like it, so I'm stoked.
we love
I
it.
really, really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was super funny, and I do have a bone to pick with you though, because literally the second I finished it and set it down, I immediately became bedridden for 2 days.
Uh,
So I 100% think that reading your book might place a voodoo curse on people.
The
yeah.
seawater, it went into you. The bad water just gave you.
I think so.
Yeah,
That was
there's some
first.
kind of disease at the Amazon shipping or print on demand uh, factory, I think. Because I've been getting pretty sick too, and I've been buying a lot of print on demand books.
Oh,
It's
okay.
laced in the ink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only buy digital stuff, so I guess that's why I'm safe. I haven't gotten sick in a while. Not to jinx
Oh, I was
myself.
wondering about that. Why is it that you only do the digital? I'm just curious.
Oh, I just don't like physical stuff. I don't like cluttering my like house with stuff like that. So it's just easier for me. I'm a very what is
Hmm.
it? What do they call it? Like simple. I forget what it's called,
Like a
but you know what I'm talking about.
minimalist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That type thing.
Hmm.
And
Like you know like the image of like an artist with like a bunch of posters and stuff like that. Like I don't have any of that. It's just like a blank white wall. I create a vacuum. So yeah,
man,
but
yeah, that's cool. My place is just like it's cluttered everywhere with books and clothes and instruments and
Same.
uh, weird stuff.
okay. Obviously,
But
10,000 copies of your book. It's very nice.
yeah, it's
You get
all
the club.
copies of my book. It's just stacked with bookshelves full of them. Um, yeah, no, I mean, I think that that's such a better way to live. I think like the kind of hoarding or consumerism bug, it can be really imprisoning in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like a slave to my collection.
fuck capitalism. We're about that, socialism. No.
Yeah,
The most
I just
socialist
This is
podcast.
the most socialist podcast. So,
yeah. When they said you'll own nothing and be happy, like maybe they had a point, you know?
yeah, those guys. That's why you said shalom at the beginning. You were just dropping the heat
Yeah,
early,
no,
early.
I'm beginning to see the light on a lot of issues, you know, and just kind of taking a 180 from my previous stances and just like, okay, these guys do have our best intentions,
They do.
perhaps.
That's why they rule over us with their money bags and all that good stuff. 'Cause,
Yeah, thank God. Thank God someone's willing to do that, to carry that cross.
yeah, but yeah, we just wanted to get you on, and we didn't want to redo what Book Club from Hell already did. Those guys, I think they did a really good job of like getting behind the scenes of like what you did in your process. So instead of ripping off Book Club from Hell, we're gonna rip off T.R. Hudson, and we asked you to give us like some movie or something to discuss, and you told us Reflections of Evil, and so we all watched that, and yeah, let's discuss it. We can get into your process in a different way. But just starting off, like, I just want to ask, what the fuck, Phil? Like, what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You come away with it feeling a type of way, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it leaves a very strong impression right away.
yeah, because
Yeah, it's
it was
yeah.
interesting
Go
with
ahead.
the beginning where, like, I wasn't even sure if the beginning was like real because it had like the intro with like the weird advertisements of like the bed, and it just like immediately loops in. But like, yeah, he's like overdubbing it. It's just like it starts off really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens with like uh famous 50s actor Tony Curtis like introducing some Charles Bronson movie.
Yeah.
And they just overdub Charles Bronson with Damon Packard. And
Yeah,
into the movie with reflections of evil. And, and right away I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I in for?
Yeah, no,
full
I
trip.
remember because when I first saw it, my friend showed it to me, and this was back when we smoked a lot of weed and watched weird movies. He worked at this hipster kind of video store, and so I'd always like in my mind reflections of evil. I didn't know that all of this was part of the movie. I thought it was just the parts where the fat guy is like crashing into stuff, and I didn't realize like I don't know. My head like broke this movie up into different pieces, and now I'm like, okay, this is all just one piece.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not sure he had all the rights to use whatever he did. I think that was like one of the things. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, yeah, I was like looking that up because I was really curious because he uses like that Crosby, Stills and Nash song, and we've only just no wait, he might not use that in that one, but he uses copyrighted material and just doesn't care. And when he was
Chad
in that
move.
interview that you shared, like he says like that it's just so under the radar that no one cares.
Yeah, like because at the end of the movie too, I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. He
Let's do
does
it.
some yeah, he he films in Universal Theme Studio Park or whatever. And they say in credits that he was banned for life or whatever from ever going there again. But he also said in that interview that he's like that's probably not even still like held up or whatever. Like who's checking that?
They're still searching
Yeah.
for David Packard.
They see him and they fucking know, dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
would,
should film the sequel there.
Oh, really?
yeah, he's flirted with that before.
Oh, you should totally do
Maybe a
that.
sequel. And that to be continued dot at the end.
Yeah, that was great. I totally forgot about that, and I was like, "Oh man, that's something I would do just to be continued and then not ever follow through on it."
Right. 20 years later, be like, I'm still not doing it.
No.
This is the
I thought
punishment
it
of
was kind
fans.
of sorry, what was that?
No, it's the punishment of fans. They just keep waiting
Yeah.
for, our heroes to give
Hmm.
us shit, but they never do.
I was gonna say I thought it was kind of moving actually, the way it cut from to be continued to just this that 70s Diane Warwick song or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like, wait, what is the mood of this? It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so discombobulating. But anytime the movie was playing those copywritten 70s songs, I was really into it. I was really with the flow of it.
No.
Yeah, they fit in really well. That and I didn't even know that that song was Crosby, Stills and Nash. And I looked it up because I was like, "Oh, what's this song? This song is sick." And then it's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, it's Wooden Ships." Okay.
Yeah, I've been listening to it all week. I'm
Yeah.
like, both that and the Diane song. I just both of them. I'm like, I can't get them out of my head.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
actually also like super surprised considering this is like indie that some of the shots actually look really good. Like he has, I think, a good sense of editing, and like it's really weird. He was like kind of doing like Sam Hyde brain rot stuff before Sam Hyde brain rot,
Yeah.
where like all of the faces are twisting, and you're like, you, the editing sometimes is like cut like super fast. It's actually super interesting. He did that.
Hmm. And they randomly colorize just like just shit in the background or You know, like he's at the
Yeah,
movie theater and he's eating popcorn, and they'll just colorize the popcorn purple or whatever.
yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I really think like Tim and Eric or something must have seen that because I don't know, I forget the timeline, but when I saw that movie, it was like around the time that Tim and Eric got their Adult Swim show. So I feel like he's kind of like one of the unsung, pioneers of just, yeah, like you said, that brain rot, fucked up stuff that's really popular now, or was really popular,
So
depending.
you're saying he's like the MNMDR of like the film scene? Is that?
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
correct.
mean,
Or you were saying Jesse?
Have you guys have read Behead All Satans, right?
yeah, that was
Yeah,
our last episode.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, I gotta listen to that still. That
You'll love
that
it.
book is awesome.
Oh, so you've read
You
it?
read it?
Yeah, yeah. That was like one of the first things when I started like looking into like the alternative or whatever that this scene is called with just, off the rails kind of authors. Like that was one of the first ones I checked out. And yeah, it was like this is exactly what I was looking for. This book.
Hell yeah. Yeah, shout
Yeah,
out to
it
MNDR.
definitely. Sorry, King.
No, I just said shout out to MNDR because he's always around. I don't know. He just like finds every new right wing guy and he's just like, hey, read my book. Like, he just comes up to you and you're like, oh, that's how it is.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
super nice.
He's an assassin ninja, yeah. But he's super nice, yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say, the Tim and Eric connection is also pretty valid in my mind too, because at least those early seasons of Tim and Eric, there were some moments that were like borderline unwatchable for me, just really, really hard to endure, like in a confrontational sort of way. And this definitely had moments like that where I was just I was really having a hard time, with dealing with the just the type of awkwardness of it, or just the I don't know, the sheer I don't know what word I'm trying to come up with here, but just like 10 minutes in, him just like profusely vomiting everywhere for like
Yeah.
2 minutes straight. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a lot.
Yeah, I love that scene where he just like that first time you see him just come crashing down and crack his head open across the pavement.
Oh, yeah. That stuff was awesome where he
Yeah.
would just like fall over and he's just like, he just cracked his head for no freaking reason.
And a
Yeah.
giant splatter of blood comes out. Like he just died, clearly. But then he just,
Yeah.
just cuts to the next scene, and
Doesn't it
you
always
Mhm.
see a lot.
also like happen whenever he like misses a bus? Like he misses a bus and then like he just cracks over and dies or something.
Yeah, and you always see homeless people just vomiting blood in the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he like paid those people or if he just filmed them and put them in the thing. Some of those guys, some of those, they obviously were instructed, but a lot of them are just like looked real rough.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he actually caught like on the fly shots of, angry homeless people.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he was in Skid Row or something, so you wouldn't have to try very hard to capture that.
Right.
Just paid
I
me
mean, that
2 bucks.
500 grand had to go somewhere, so.
Yo, that was the other thing, dude. Like, he blew his $500,000 inheritance on this movie. Yo, why would you do that? It's just insane.
It
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely
probably a good
crazy.
idea.
Oh, what was that, Phil?
I was just saying it's probably a good idea if you get all that much money at once to just blow it on a crazy like passion project.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, like, at least
seems
keep
like a good
half.
idea.
Like 250K. I don't know. Like, that might come in handy sometime. It's just
Hmm.
insane. And I think that's, kind of related to art, but you really shouldn't be spending money on shit that is not worth it at like a skill, because I feel like he has a good sense of cinematography and um but like you shouldn't be blowing all of your money until you know like you've got like something really good on your hands, you know, like I could have like
Mm,
spent like I need to spend $1 million on like a mega PC or some shit to, but you actually don't, and it's probably not the best direction to do that stuff.
And
So
it's
yeah.
crazy. I was just gonna say it's crazy because like he was making all of this up as he went along, basically. Like there wasn't really a script to this, so to be putting so much of your funding into a project that is just kind of being filmed as it goes along, I mean, definitely takes a lot of balls or stupidity. I have no idea.
Yeah, that kind of gonzo filmmaking. God, this other guy did that too, who's like a really famous, kind of transgressive director. Shit. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna think of his name later, but he did that same sort of thing where he just kind of took the camera with him and made just what he was doing into a movie.
You can't think
Um,
of that in any of his movies.
Shit, he was like he acted in a lot too, but he did like that kind of gonzo, like it was in the '70s and '80s. Yeah, fuck.
Cassavetes?
Yeah, Cassavetes.
yo, how
Okay.
did you? That is insane.
I told you I'm autistic as fuck about this shit.
Jesse
That's
Larkin's the
yeah,
cinema
good job.
man.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But yeah,
But
actually,
yeah, the
I just want to say, we've been talking for a while, and I think to the average viewer, they have no idea what the fuck the plot is, and I don't even know if there's a plot. Like, what is the plot?
Yeah, it's this guy, Bob. He goes to Universal Studios with his grandma and sister, and his sister runs away and takes PCP and overdoses, and so the rest of the movie is, I think, her trying to uh, communicate with him. I don't want to spoil any of the the great surprises of this film, but that's kind of the basic premise.
Oh shit, I was gonna go straight into spoilers. So, but maybe we'll get into it later. I don't know, but yeah, I
No,
think
we could spoil it too. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, no, she overdoses, I guess, when she meets this guy, like the soup. So I forget his name, like the something guru or something, and
yeah, I
uh,
forget what it is.
I don't think he even has a name in the
yeah,
movie. He's just a guy. He's just like, you gotta find Bob or something. He just shouts that.
He offers her the blue pills or the red pills, and he gives her the red pills.
Hell yeah.
yeah, that was really cool to watch again, and that was like Dayquil and Nyquil, I think, that they put in plastic baggies.
I didn't even
You're
notice
probably
that.
right. Yeah,
But
and that whole sequence plays out in like a half-hour long flashback where you're kind of just piecing all of this information together, just visually, basically. Um, and yeah, through great song choices.
Yeah.
oh wait, yeah, now I remember the guru. He was the guy that was like dancing with like the '70s hippie, and everybody was like following him, right?
Yeah, with that blonde wig.
Okay, I didn't even notice the blue pill, red pill thing. That's wild. So he did. Oh wait, no, this was
Yeah.
this was after the Matrix, right? Because this was 2002. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, that was a reference. All right, but yeah,
Yeah, that must have been a nod to that movie,
yeah,
or just a happy coincidence.
Yeah, I couldn't quite determine that. It kind of felt more like a coincidence, but you never know, honestly, because the movie itself is very meta and referencing uh bigger movies than itself all the time. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
yeah,
I love the way he shits on Spielberg, or not, but just like is
yo,
constantly
yeah.
like poking at him.
Yeah,
I
you called it
forget.
negging in the chat.
Hmm.
like what is it? I remember like he has the Spielberg on set, and then like when everybody's dying, I think he's like just playing lightsaber sounds. That shit was so
Yeah.
fucking funny, dude.
Yeah, he's on set. A young Steven Spielberg's on set filming like this like TV movie or something called Something Evil, which is a real movie. I looked it up. Um, and a an incident goes down where like a fire happens and everyone gets electrocuted or something, and he just keeps yelling at everyone to keep the cameras rolling and
Yeah,
Yeah.
film.
and everybody's
And
just like dying, and but it's like set to Star Wars music, so it's like so cool.
yeah,
And then also like
yeah,
when he escapes from the police, they start playing Star Wars music. That shit was hilarious too.
yeah, and like there's a they play one of the Halloween themes in this movie. Like he's just walking down the street in one shot, and they literally play the Halloween theme. And I know,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna derail it a little bit because I was gonna talk about the other one, Grizzly Redux, that he did. But yeah, no, I mean
Okay.
that scene, yeah, where they're throwing like all this shit at the thing, and he's like got young Steven Spielberg there, like film it, and he's just like directing them. It's just the funniest fucking scene for me in that movie.
Oh
Yeah, his
yeah.
sister just wanders onto the set just out of nowhere, and it just the movie just kind of detours there for like 10 minutes, and then and then we go like it was just so I kind of appreciate that, honestly, to take your piece in that way, just like fuck it, we're gonna go over here for a few minutes just cuz.
Yeah, Spielberg. Fuck Spielberg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some
Doctor
weird
Cool.
allegations about him and like, the was it Poltergeist? No, one of the stars that like I remember hearing in like the QAnon days, about people were, talking about Spielberg and his like like illicit activities and stuff. I always wanted to get more into that, but I didn't. I don't know. That rabbit hole kind
Yeah,
of
wasn't
ended
like it
sinister.
allegedly like a little girl allegedly may have died or something? Allegedly,
The Poltergeist
Right.
girl.
was it?
The Poltergeist girl, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
allegedly, all alleged.
There was a lot of speculation, yeah, that she may have been tampered with or something.
Mm,
What a
okay.
crazy world. I couldn't imagine
And
Spielberg doing that. He seems like such a nice
yeah,
guy.
what?
He made like E.T. or something, right?
Yeah. And you know, I don't know if you guys know Crispin Glover. He's the dad in Back to the Future, but
Yeah.
he's called out Robert Zemeckis
Yeah.
for Back to the Future just being this like pedophilic set, and that's why Crispin Glover didn't come back for the sequel. And they ended up doing some crazy shit where they made a mold of him and pretended like he was a part of it even though he never was. And I mean, yeah, how it's like the movie is definitely commenting on like the weird conspiratorial predatory nature of of Hollywood, but in a very
Huh.
satirical extreme way.
I didn't notice that, I guess. Yeah, because there is like the Illuminati, not Illuminati, but there's like flashes of people like doing, I don't know if it's like human sacrifice or something, but there's just like these faces, they'll show up and they're like, boo, um,
Mm-hmm.
and they start chanting
It's
stuff.
and it's just like in the just the presence of cults and the contrast in the imagery itself, just by showing these stark contrast images of people being sickly and dying with like glamorous posters for miscongeniality and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
He's clearly trying to say like to me it felt kind of blatant in a way.
Okay. I've never watched Miss Congeniality, so I guess like the reference was lost on me.
Well, neither have I. I just mean like just
Oh, okay.
the glamorous
I
Hollywood
see.
poster, you know what I mean? Just this image of this beautiful woman or whatever. And most of the beautiful images in the movie don't come from the movie. They come from him like filming Hollywood movies.
Oh yeah, okay, I see, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Although, I think like an hour and a half in, he starts doing these tracking shots, and I'm like, where the fuck have these been the whole movie? These are so good.
Tracking shots of like what?
A tracking shot, it basically is a shot that moves with the person, like in sync with him.
Okay, okay,
And
I see, I see.
that so an hour and a half in, he kind of goes on that huge like 20-minute, like he's just going from person to person, neighborhood to neighborhood. And you'll notice that's when the camera work gets really good. It's like they rented out
Yeah.
a dolly for like that one day or a steady cam for that one day because they start nailing these shots that just glide with him as he's on this tirade. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, you had 500 grand. Where were these shots at the beginning?
Yeah. Was that the one where he was like getting chased by the like not chased but like the dogs were coming on to him with the like they were just dog owners all the time?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was good. That was some good stuff.
hmm It was like, oh man, okay. So I, it was in moments like that where the vision almost like crystallized, and you were like, okay, I can see, because a lot of the movie, it takes a while for it to kind of establish the rhythm, like it's kind of like, okay, well, here are these old people commenting out the window, here's him walking around town, here's this woman, maybe it's his sister, and it kind of takes a second for it to establish all of these like elements that are all working in tandem together. And then once it gets to that section, I felt like, okay, yeah, now we're really rolling. We're really, on to the vision of the movie.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I
getting
felt that
somewhere.
way too. Yeah, it's like it's such a slow burn. Well, not a slow burn. It's like a very harsh noise, introduction for like the first hour of it before it kind of starts sliding into, like some of the more impressive scenes and stuff. So yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, I would say once it gets to that flashback where he's a little boy and she wanders off to go see what Steven Spielberg's doing, I became a lot more invested and more interested, even when it wasn't cinematic, just interested in his choices and where he was going.
Yeah, because that is like yeah, it is when the story congeals more, and like I guess you later find out that, or even like in the middle, you kind of guess that like his sister's dead from like PCP, and like right about the moment you figure that out, they say it, so it's like that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought
yeah,
that was so funny with that scene where the grandma's like, what is that DTT or CCC? And then the Julie, the daughter's like, it's PCP, she like corrects her.
yeah, yeah, and there
Yeah,
was like a lot of '70s stuff, like there was like the Vietnam protesters or something, and they're just like
Yeah.
treated like
yeah.
retards, I guess.
Everyone's wearing crazy wigs and like dollar store 70s outfits, and
Yeah,
they're all like they've all got like picket signs. They're like, down with Vietnam.
And
yeah.
there's that guy that's doing like the Homer walk, when he went to Lollapalooza or something like that really big, or like the John Lennon walk, if that really big gate and stuff, and with the afro on, that was so good.
I was going through the movie again like an hour ago, just kind of skimming it, and I stopped on that part because it's so funny the way he walks up the hill like that. He says something super aggressive, like "fucking shit," like "motherfucker," like I forget what it was, but oh yeah, really, really Kino, really funny.
Peak period piece. Peak period piece.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's obsessed with the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched his other movie, like another one called like Space Disco, and it's all like kind of riffing on Logan's Run and some other, the 70s like sci-fi thing.
Oh
But
hell yeah.
You guys are talking about the kind of Illuminati or like that kind of stuff. He actually has like Alex Jones clips in that one, and all this
Yo.
like PDF
Fuck.
file kind of stuff with like the high up people. I don't know. It's a trip. It's a lot very similar tonally to Reflections of Evil, but less harsh, more kind of soft, I guess, smoothed over.
How long is that one?
That one's an hour. Yeah, Space Disco.
Okay, so and I saw that Fox Fur was just a little over an hour, and he's talked about how there's no perfect version of this movie that he does. It kind of is what it is. So I'm definitely curious if he would have if he had tried to make it today, how short it would be. If he kind of like discovered as he kept making movies, like maybe my sweet spot is just over an hour or something. Or
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and
I'm
Yeah,
not.
that
also
would have been a lot better, I think, for this one if it was he was able to condense it a bit more, but it just for what it is definitely a thing.
and just the
Yeah,
whole
it's
thought
funny.
back from before. You also wanted to derail into Grizzly Redux. You want to talk about that a little bit, Phil?
Oh yeah, that one. It just I didn't actually watch it, but I just saw the poster and it's like he just we were I think because we were talking about how he just takes copyrighted material and just makes it into something. And that I think what he did with that is he just took scenes from this old horror movie called Grizzly and just added a bunch of his crazy edits and stuff to it. So that's one I definitely want to check out next. Right now, it looks like a lot of his stuff is available on Tubi.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I love Tubi, man. I watched a lot of stuff on Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi now is what Netflix used to be like 15 years ago, where it's just loaded with so much obscure random shit that you can't find anywhere else. And that was the pleasure of Netflix when it first came out for me. I was like, me and my friends, yeah, we'd hang out and get stoned and try and find really stupid movies like Thanksgiving and
Yeah,
and this just seems like one of those movies that we would have found and watched and been like, what the fuck is this? And just had a great night watching it.
yeah,
yeah. Netflix doesn't have Reflections of Evil, does it?
No.
Shit service, trash.
yeah.
Canceled.
But it's
Cancelled.
funny too, because yeah, that movie has so much like we're talking about like copyrighted shit in it, and then I was just like thinking like, how is this on Tubi? But I mean, because they play ads on it, so they're making money off of it. But nothing got cleared for that movie, as far as I know.
Bro, it's
Yeah, he
probably statute
literally
of limitations or some shit. Nobody cares.
I think it's kind of incredible that he before he goes to the theme park, he goes into a movie theater, and I think he goes to see like that robots movie that for kids or whatever.
Yeah,
Because it shows the whole THX logo with the sound, and and then he literally films like the entire trailer for Star Wars Episode 2, and you can
Yeah.
see the film logo and everything.
You know,
I mean,
and he
what the
and he
fuck?
also and he also put Lord of the Rings in it, bro. That shit was so fucking hilarious. And he's
yeah,
like
I was
eating
dying.
shit the whole entire time.
Yeah. Oh my
Uh,
god, and that scene was great because it when it cuts to his reactions, it's in night vision, and he's like looking around the theater, and there's like dudes jacking off, and they're like covered in oil, staring
yeah.
at him, and all this shit.
That was creepy as fuck. That was definitely an effective shot there or scene there.
Hmm.
yo, no, like what is up with like Bobby eating? Not Bobby, but Bob eating all the time. Like, is it just like does it have a point to the story? Because at least from my perspective, it's like a quirk of him like needing to eat to like overeat, but I'm not sure if there's any
Well,
thematic relevance.
I think there might be because you know it's so prevalent, and I saw some people online making these claims about consumption and Hollywood consumption and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. And uh it's kind of like a blink and you miss it thing, but I think she tells him at the end that he died from eating too much, like eating too much sugar or something.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's what happens. But
So
yeah.
yeah, no, just like just ramping up the excessive audio of him eating, just with these fake gluttonous sounds. It does seem very intentional to the plot that he's this obese guy. But then in the making of behind the scenes or whatever, they show there must have been a deleted scene where he is revealed to just be wearing like 100 fucking shirts that he takes off.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect him to actually be that fat. That would be crazy.
But they cut that scene out, so I guess the point of the universe is that he
Oh,
is that
it's
fat.
oh, okay. I see. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay. No.
it's like,
Okay. I see. Because I thought you meant behind the scenes, as in like he was behind the scenes and he was actually doing it. But no. Okay. If they cut the
no.
scene and he's not actually that fat, then that's kind of weird.
Well, yeah, there's like a part where they were going to have him fight two Asian guys. They were going to
Okay.
do like a ninja battle where he takes off all of his shirts and beats them with his shirts.
Oh, dude, that
And
would have
so
been
it would
so
have
sick.
I thought that was going to happen. I was like, I think I watched that actually before I watched the movie. So I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a great reveal that he's actually, but they
Yeah.
they scrapped that entirely to keep him as this uh this monstrous figure. And that's definitely where the Halloween theme comes in to portray him as this monster."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that whole, the overeating, the overbearing grandma and all that, you look at the food that's in the fridge and you're just like, okay, this kind of, if you've ever read like Portnoy's Complaint or something like that, you get the vibe of like this guy that's just constantly being berated by his grandma, and just like I feel like this is very like autobiographical in that sense, like you have to have lived through that kind of an upbringing, to
Yeah.
capture it like that. It reminded me of Confederacy of Dunces, actually, that book, if you guys have read it.
Yeah, a
Very
little.
similar kind of, scenario in that way.
Yeah, the diner scene where she's, I mean, and the audio dubbing for that scene is so ridiculous. But
Yeah.
her just being like, "Stop! Don't eat that! Don't you eat that!" He's like, I'm not gonna. Okay, but I'm gonna." He
Yeah.
takes-
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, beneath all of that really absurd layering is probably something actually, that he's dealt with or bugs him on some level. There's a lot of, yeah, strange nuanced details that just feel super to his personality that were just, infused into this.
Yeah, I think the lesson that we learned is that his grandma isn't body positive enough and she needs to stop fat shaming him. Like, what the fuck, man? I was just rude.
No fat shaming.
No fat shaming. Not on Subverted Subversions. Not here, not ever.
Never
Yeah.
ever. Get the fuck out if you're a fat shamer.
Well, I could tell it was a critique on that, because if it wasn't and they were just, outright body shaming, I would have hit stop
We
right away.
just leave the movie.
Yeah, dude, I would have, you know what? And I would have canceled this episode. I wouldn't be able to participate in it personally if you would have
Yeah.
continued.
Email Tubi
Exactly.
right now. How could you? How could you do this to society?
Yeah. No, yeah, I got those vibes from watching. I mean, you look at like the weird gefilte fish in the fridge and all this weird pickled, stuff all wrapped up in tinfoil. I'm like, this guy definitely, this was his childhood.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
But
Can
I
we
mean,
can we give a quick sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. You go.
I just want to say, can we give a quick shout out to like it's like the first 5 minutes, it cuts to this old couple, and
Yeah.
they hear him making noise outside, and they're like, what in tarnation, you know? And it just the grandpa just casually gets up and walks across the room and reveals a giant Nazi flag hanging up.
Wait, what? I didn't notice
You
this.
didn't notice that?
No. Dude, I'm gonna have to
Oh
rewatch
my
the
god,
movie. What the fuck?
dude! It's like hanging above the TV.
Okay, I was probably
He
looking at the TV.
Oh man, he crosses the room to go look out the window, and it's just a giant Nazi flag.
I must have the most blind eyes on planet Earth. Because that would
Dude, and
rocket my score way up.
I was immediately like, okay, now we got a real tangential connection to the raft
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
with
Oh,
the Nazi
is
flag.
that inspiration for the raft?
I mean, all this stuff kind of, it's there's a lot of, I feel like a lot of elements from that film that work their way. It was very formative for me. Like after that, like me and my buddies, after we watched it, like we were making our own kind of guerrilla movies like that with just weird cuts and just very grating scenes, that's just kind of like a freakier Tim and Eric and stuff. Um but yeah, no, I mean, that movie really, it showed me like what art could do.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
like kind of subconscious on a level. You just added a Nazi flag. You're just like, oh yeah, reflections of
Well,
evil.
that because I wanted to just like, I like just putting in like a real random, just like, oh, that's shocking, all of a sudden,
Hmm.
just kind of wake people up. And I think similarly in Reflections of Evil, you see that in the wall, you're just like, holy shit, it's like that, huh? And they have all their guns mounted up on the flag, and oh man, that made me laugh because I totally have forgotten that scene was in there actually. um the big Nazi flag in there, but in the Reflections of Evil, but I threw it in my book because I just, you kind of, it's hard to tell exactly where people land politically, um or what their ideals are and stuff. So, and it's just kind of confusing, you know
Yeah,
it's
Well, I
like
thought
a
it was super
misdirection.
funny.
Sorry, what?
No, I was just saying I thought it was really funny, but your point about it being a misdirection, yeah.
it,
Yeah, because people are like, oh, you have to, everyone has to kind of line up. Like, if you, don't believe in the vaccine, then you have to believe this and you have to believe that. And just mishmashing things. I like doing that where it's like, it doesn't make sense that you would, be into this, but then you do that. So I like kind of playing around with that.
yeah, especially in entertainment, like you just want to do like what's most exciting and just following like, oh, this is what my party or whatever says, so I must do this. Just it doesn't work out, a lot of times.
Right.
And it's just
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of almost being a little confused by by the politics of it, you know? It's like it is one thing to like find something that, resonates with you or is like based or whatever, but I do think it's funny to read something that, has a sort of plausible deniability of both sides where either, anybody could kind of read it and, kind of project project whatever they want onto it or just be confused entirely by it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that because yeah, things can get predictable, and life isn't that predictable, and like the stuff that is based or agreeable, at one time can shift, and I mean there are some principles you'll stick to throughout your whole life and everything, but there's some stuff that's just kind of the sideshow that's just there, it's like weird kind of offshoots, and that don't have to do with anything once you stand far enough back. um and so yeah, I don't know, it's just when people follow like the party line, like no, you have to think this about this thing and this about that thing. And I don't know, it gets kind of like almost satirical after a while, or just kind of like, you know, if you're not questioning anything and you're falling all into one party line, you know, I don't know, that just kind of makes me think something's up.
Yeah, it's I remember it was like reading at the end of the raft. It's like your analogy with V, right? Like like the protagonist, like he just trips over and like dies at the end, and like V's laughing. You're like, oh, does that mean the liberals win? But it's just funny. Like it's just funny. Like it's just a dead V laughing at your like dead main character who just like did retarded shit. It's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to be able to follow your impulses and your instincts without kind of, you know, questioning them constantly if it's going to be socially accepted by the right people.
Right.
Yeah, and also like something I kind of wanted to ask you is in my review I noted that like um your book, it was kind of in a sense ugly, and I'm not sure if this movie was also like an influence on that, because it's not a very pretty movie to say the least, right? And I feel like maybe your book was kind of influenced by that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'd say that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of ugly moments.
And yeah, just like all the vomiting and barfing, and yeah, it kind of just it seeps in through to the raft, which I think is pretty cool. It's a different
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah, I before I was working on the raft, I was working on like some extreme horror novels, and I don't know what it is, like, because I have like I'm kind of grossed out by a lot of things, uh by the human body and things like that. And so when I'm writing, I'm just kind of just spewing out just grotesque things at times, because it's just like I need to unload all this stuff that's just like, you know, building up in my head. And it's just cathartic, you know, just writing, like, you know, just really disgusting things sometimes. And I don't know.
100%.
No,
Do
that's
you
Yeah.
would you say that your I mean, do you would your is your process a lot more like seat of your pants writing, where you know, you're just kind of writing as you're going and it's developing as you're writing, and then kind of, you know, trying to determine what impulses to tame or dial back and which ones to just keep letting fly? Or like what is the kind of process of that? Do you just let it all go and then dial back, or dial back as you keep going? Or
Yeah, yeah, I just keep like this one, like there was a whole half of it I scrapped because I was going off the seat of my pants. And then the way it went, just, you know, it was almost like the humor got too wrapped up in, you know, current events and stuff, and I was following down a path that was too predictable in a way. And so I just scrapped it, and I just, you know, waited for a new, I don't know, a new inspiration hit. And then I was able to do something I'm a little happier with. But yeah, none of it was written out as like a plotting or anything like that. This new one I'm working on, I'm plotting, but when I do that, I end up getting so bored with it because I know it's going to happen, that I just want to like throw a bomb in it and switch things up.
yeah, you just feel like you're just adhering to the ABCs you already have outlined in your head or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate that stuff. Just, I mean, not like I hate other people doing it, but you know, because there's a lot of stuff I enjoy that has all that. And I'm not like saying like, oh, it can't be this way if you're making it. But just for me, like I get just so bored, you know, with myself sometimes when I'm writing or what I'm doing, that I'm just like, okay, I need to put something in here completely out of left field, and just shake things up, you know.
Well, that's what makes your writing so exciting and fun to read, because yeah, you have no idea at any point where where it's going. You're just being inundated by all these, just left turn ideas and great comedic beats, and you just kind of flow along like a dream or something.
Yeah, your main
Um,
character just gets raped, just casually in the neck.
performed surgery on his brother and like.
Yeah, dude, that
Oh,
stuff's so
I just
fun.
want to say, that the ending when you're describing the wife, uh like what is she? She's like a
She's like a
shrimp sort of
prawn or
thing.
something, seafood.
Yeah. Dude, that really unnerved me, actually. I gotta say, some of those descriptions were really getting under my skin, and I was not expecting that because I was just laughing so fucking hard, but then this cosmic horror shit comes out of nowhere, and it really got to me.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because I was having trouble with that because I really wanted to describe her in a way that was in my head, and it was kind of, and just this really disgusting creature, Lovecraftian kind of thing. But yeah, I'm really glad that that came across because when I was writing, it was like I had to go over that a couple different times to just try and get it to where I thought it would put it the right image in people's heads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely nailed that. It was you must have yeah. I don't even know where to go with that. You totally nailed that.
because it is like very insectoid, and like the feeling of like appendages is just like it gives off a really unnerving, creepy vibe. You know,
Yes.
and it's just like stuff like that is just like you just kind of shake, and you're like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, the descriptions of her eyes and the way they would respond to things, and it's just like the little bits of personality you get from her doing things. It just, yeah, I don't know. Not to beat it to death, but just like, oh, fuck, yeah. I couldn't not mention how great that was.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm really happy that part came across because that's like that sort of stuff is the stuff that I really want to get across is like this dreadful grotesque imagery and stuff. So I'm really glad that part you know worked for you.
Yeah, and you just dropped something today on Substack, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about that for a sec? Because that was really funny.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I it's funny because it was very much inspired by the reflections of evil stuff. Um just thinking of like, all right, like some guy who's like really into just, the those big kind of epic movies and stuff and just being like, oh, it's gonna have this, like imagine Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings, and just just following that insanity and taking it, as far as it could go. I was really stumped for what to write this week, but then I was rewatching the Reflections of Evil stuff, and I was just thinking like, okay, I got it.
Dude, this shit is
Well, it's
such a
so
banger
funny.
already. I haven't read
It
it.
was so
I want to read your work, but like, dude, I'm so busy all the time. But dude,
Yeah.
every single post you make is like certified gold, dude. Like I
yes.
Oh,
read the one
thanks.
that was like Jared Leto is in this like woman's pussy or some shit. Dude, that was so fucking funny. It was just like this isn't like a cult or something. Like, dude, that was on point.
Yeah. No, it's funny
Yeah.
because with that one, I've been researching 30 Seconds to Mars, and just like I went down that rabbit hole, and it's just now I get all these YouTube videos, shorts, as like, how does 30 Seconds to Mars get ready for a big show and stuff, and I watch all of them, and he's a really, like, I don't know, like a parody of like the douchey LA Viper Room, modern day Viper Room kind of guy. And yeah, it's just that piece came out of that like manically. I was just like thinking about Jared Leto and all that, um, and it just came to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got anything to add to that,
I
Jesse? Or
I was just gonna say, because I haven't read that, one, but that is sounds fucking hilarious. That this the one you dropped today was, I just thought it was so funny that yeah, he's like like autistically combining like his favorite movies of all time, and then it just turns into like this like you know, completely transparent rant on immigration.
Wait.
And I was just like, okay, this is so fucking amazing. Like, and then he's like, okay, this is only gonna cost $5 billion, so you know, hit me up or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought that was great. And the other one I read, you already talked about it on Book Club from Hell, but that one where it's like a '50s summer romance that turns into like an alien abduction at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was stellar, stellar.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, those are fun to do. It's hard because like I've been trying to do like every week. I'm very like hard on myself. Like you have to do it every Monday. You have to put one out. And sometimes I'll get it like really early on, like a Tuesday or something. I'll just be like, oh, not, and it'll just come to me. And then there are times where it's like, down to the wire, and I just have to get something out, but it's resulted in some interesting ideas, and I like keeping to that, once a week schedule I've got going.
Bro, how the fuck do
Yeah,
you
you
do
could put
that?
out.
That shit is
Sorry, go ahead.
insane, dude. Like I can't keep a schedule to save my life. Like that stuff is really tough. Like getting like I don't know if if you don't notice, I don't tweet that often because like just coming up with like, ideas is so hard. And like to see you doing stuff like every week, I'm like, damn, Phil's doing it again.
Yeah, there was one where I was like really stumped and I did like the Epstein files and it was just, I don't know, I just was like, well, I'll just put it in German. And I almost put this new one, I was almost going to put all in Japanese, but I decided, I don't know, because you don't really get good responses if you put things, translate it to another language with Google Translate.
Mm.
I thought
Yeah,
it'd be funny if there were like the German, Substack community, landed on it, or if it become, you know what I mean? Like if it finds like this totally random audience, but that's not how that worked out. People just didn't read it. Well, one guy read it, yeah, but it's asking a lot to make people put everything through Google Translate.
dude. That like just that's kind of something that I've kind of realized with Hate Spree, cause like Jesse was kind of like, I don't have a computer, and I was like, what? And then I realized people may not be reading my shit because it's in like a zip file. I was like, oh, like I'm putting barriers up when people could like actually be reading this shit.
I mean, actually, yeah, because I remember reading it. I really enjoyed it. The artwork is so crazy and so unique, And I was just thinking, like, well, I know you have principles about, physical media and stuff, but it would be really cool if you were able to put something out for people that don't like read stuff on screens.
Yeah, I just have to
Yeah,
find the right publisher, I guess, because that's another thing. I'm gonna have to send one off to like what New Ritual Press or something. I don't know, or Anxiety
Y-
Press. Figure
yeah,
it out.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
or
would
just put
definitely
it out
like.
yourself. But I mean, I know there's like, yeah, it's not always the best route to go, but I mean, you wouldn't have any kind of like people saying, "Oh, I can't include this or that," if you just put it out yourself
Oh, put it on
on
Amazon. Okay.
yeah.
All right. It's not that hard to do. If it's, I guess maybe like I'll ask questions later on, like getting it on Amazon and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's worth something.
And
It's
then
just,
if
it's
you
just
do full color spreads, you can ramp up the price.
that's what I'm saying. Like, because the other thing is like selling. Like, I'm not sure if you can like sell 18 plus stuff on Amazon. Maybe you can, but
Yeah.
uh, oh, okay. Like they
Yeah,
just don't
there's all
care.
sorts of filthy, vile stuff sold on Amazon. Like that one. was that one by Roger Zelazny, or that sci-fi author? He wrote one that was just like all basically just you know uh pedo fantasy, is torture fantasy. It's called Hog, I think is the name of it. But
Oh
there's
yeah.
that's
Well,
on Amazon.
well, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, isn't it just like for pornography, like not text, but like images? Like, you have to have like some kind of weird like gatekeep thing or something. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I
maybe
don't
they just
know.
I don't think so.
I
okay,
was gonna send you something earlier today, actually. That
okay.
just like it's on Amazon, and the cover is absolutely fucking filthy. It's it's called Two Girls One Cup Redux, and
Okay, yeah,
it's
dude.
an it's an anime light novel cover with like two like naked anime bitches on the front with like really like bad sort of graphics to insinuate probably shit or something. But I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you can you can definitely post whatever you want on here,
Okay.
unless someone maybe reports it or whatever. But
Well, the cover, that's the key thing, is if you put like a nice cover on it, that doesn't have any of that imagery, then I think what you put inside it, you really have a lot of wiggle room, so long as it doesn't get popular.
that would make
Okay.
sense, yeah.
No, no, that dude just followed me. I'm gonna have to follow him back. The two girls, one cup Redux guy sounds pretty cool.
Otis Bateman,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're giving him a shout out right
Shout,
now.
I don't even know the guy, but shout out to Otis Bateman for subscribing to me.
Yeah, he followed
Uh,
me 11 hours ago, so I'm like, all right, who's this guy?
Yeah, it was from the podcast too. So,
Yeah,
um,
I gotta check this dude. I hadn't even heard of this. Two girls, one cup redux. I'm gonna write
yeah,
that down.
and he also has like some other book called like the Rapinator or something, Raperzord. Oh fuck, I forgot
rape
the name.
Holocaust.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
So and
the
like,
Rape
yeah, I'm
Zoid.
definitely curious. It's
Yeah,
got my attention.
seems like an interesting guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, where were we? Reflections of Evil. I'm not sure if you had anything else to. Did I cut you off before, Jesse? Like you might have been saying something.
I don't really remember.
Okay,
It
let
probably
me just let me just swipe into this then. I did notice at the end of the movie because I have to get this in. Um, he gets onto the like a train ride for Schindler's List at Universal Studios.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, like what the fuck? That shit was so
the
funny.
Schindler's List. Yeah, dude. The ride for Schindler's List.
They actually
Yeah,
made
I
one.
saw that poster. Like, there's a poster he stands by that says Schindler's List: The Ride. Yeah. Oh my god.
They actually made that.
It's
That
incredible.
that's what I was wondering. Did he print that out and post it up on next to the ride or something? That was amazing.
I can't believe they
Yeah,
actually
because
did that.
there's like a sign that he uh does that later on with or whatever. He posts his own shit on top of the sign. So you never know.
I mean, it has to be because they had like people like doing the German thing, and like other people were there, right? Like it can't be fake.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh my god. That's another thing I just totally forgot about. And for a second there, I was actually wondering, like, did they have a Schindler's List ride at one point? Because that movie was ubiquitous. That was everywhere when that came out, and I wouldn't have put it past them to have a Schindler's List ride.
Hmm.
Uh,
Obviously, that wasn't a thing, but I mean, it made me think for a second.
huh.
Did any of you guys watch any of the AI videos that he's been making for his YouTube channel?
I watched a little bit.
Yeah.
I skimmed through like he's just making AI art.
Yeah, like he's plugging in Reflections of Evil into like video AI and getting all kinds of weird edits and yeah, and just uploading them to his channel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
such a him Damon Packard thing to do. Like that fits him like he's the type of guy who would get like go down like an AI slop rabbit hole, just he's so on the cutting edge, he would get lost in that sauce.
Yeah, it fits with the whole copyright sort of quality of his work that he just picks and steals and combines into new shit and yeah.
well, I don't see the problem.
That's
That's
one
just
of
more.
my
That's more Damon Packard movies. You know what I'm saying? Just use the AI, churn them out. Let's go.
yeah. I really love the whole like just steal stuff and put it in your stuff thing. Like especially when it's like bigger properties, when you're stealing like, people that are in the same lane as you, obviously that's like fucked up. But when you're just taking like intellectual property and just raping it, I love it when artists do that, and I don't really see it that much. People are very scared, because if it plays it's very easy to trace people who are breaking copyright stuff. But I don't know. I love that stuff. Like that old band, Negative Land, that would just use like Pepsi commercials or Disney audio and just mash it up, and just totally without regard, just stick it in things. I just think
Yeah.
that's such a cool like fuck you kind of thing to do.
Do you actually have like a stance on copyright?
Yeah, I if there are a lot of subtleties to it, but for the most part, I think it's funny to break copyright when it's like a really popular thing.
Yeah.
Um and maybe because it's so verboten, it makes it even funnier and cooler to do that. So maybe the copyright is good in that way.
Well, I just had like, because I thought about copyright a lot, obviously as an artist and stuff like that, and I came to the conclusion that copyright fucking sucks. Because if you think about it, like all your favorite IPs, right? Like the whole point of copyright is just so that rich people can just take your copyright for whatever like IP and just make all of your favorite IPs gay. Like that's the end point of
Yeah.
copyright. And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
no, this shit sucks. You can't do anything about it because you're gonna get sued out the ass.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, for the most part. Like I used to be very much like, yeah, fuck copyright, blah blah, and I guess like it's just annoying. I mean, there must be some way, that it's kind of like good, well, it's good to have some sort of protections, but for the most part, yeah, I don't like it. I think it's really lame that they can just like hold on to these things and ideas and images and no, you can't use that, you can't touch that. I think that's really stupid.
I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Jesse.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's like so many artists, you know, it, filmmakers especially, they want to put a certain song in their movie or they want to reference something, and then all of a sudden becomes a you know you know tens of thousands of dollars in negotiations and lawyers and working out all this shit. On the other hand, though, I do think it's funny though when copyright, like something like a character, clears and then everyone just starts making bad horror movies with that
Oh
character.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I love that.
Like they're just
Mhm.
like, okay, oh, it's free. Now we get to make the most slop dog shit productions with and I kind of like that again in that punk spirit that it's like, okay, now we get to make Popeye like a fucking, retard murderer. But, yeah, I don't know. It is conflicting. Like maybe we shouldn't have access to that, but it's also like, fuck it. Why not?
Ah, we should,
Yeah, I
man.
really I really respect people who don't respect copyright in that way, and they're
Mhm.
using it in a way that's funny and cool. And yeah,
Yeah, copyright
that shit
Yeah,
violate
is
it's
the
like
really
rich.
cool.
funny and cool. Sorry, King.
No, I just say copyright violate the rich. Let's go.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
saying,
them I don't really care about. I mean, they've made their money, they're doing their thing. They get all up in arms like Metallica and stuff about like, oh, you're cutting into our sales, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm that concerned about you. you know.
well, it's just like a lot of movies. I think like a lot of the budget is like put towards like the soundtrack, right? Like sometimes the songs can be more expensive than the movie itself.
Huh.
Yeah, dude, I made a movie for 15 grand and it was full of Elvis songs. Not because I just included Elvis songs, it was because there was like we filmed an Elvis impersonator and he, did these like moving renditions or whatever. And just to clear that alone, it was like 10 grand or something.
Holy fuck!
Um and I was like, okay, so that's already double our fucking budget. We can't do that just to have this, this Elvis beat in it or whatever. But it's like if we take it out, it to me it felt like it would have collapsed some sort of integrity with it, some sort of emotional aspect to the whole movie. So I was like, well, what it just puts artists in this very compromised, strange corner where they're like, okay, I can't truly fully express myself, without an absurd amount of means backing me.
So
Yeah.
what, did you just like make the movie with 5 grand left?
Oh no, I mean we didn't pay it or anything. We didn't do
Oh,
any of that.
okay.
We made the movie, right, and
Yeah.
then it was after we had edited together that we started contacting people about trying to clear the music for it. And yeah, I think the cheapest was I can't it's been a few years, so it was either 10 grand or 15 grand. And it was like, all right, that was the whole budget it took to make this thing. So
Yeah.
it yeah, yeah, that was a disaster.
Yo, fuck that. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it's so ridiculous that like you can like put 2 seconds of something in, and then you have to like pay 10 grand because someone like made something. It's bizarre.
hmm
When like,
Yeah, I wanted to put a bunch. Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
nah, just like you've already made ticket sales, dude. Like, come on, let's be real here.
Yeah. No, I wanted to put like I wonder, what the rule is for putting like Stephen King will put like 10 song lyrics, different song lyrics at the beginning of each chapter, for his books. And do you have
hmm
to get that cleared or can you just do that?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know, but in my short story Sourwood, I literally like transcribed audio dialogue from bum fights. Like the kids are watching bum fights, and I actually just typed out what they were saying in bum fights. So I don't know if I'm expecting a lawsuit, but we'll figure it out.
Wow.
Only when you get popular, right? That's the only. That's the only
Right,
time
right.
shit
Yeah,
like this
But
matters.
yeah, that's the dialogue from bum fights. Actually, those homeless people yelling at each other and shit.
I think like
that's awesome.
the thing is like I think what is it? You're like you can quote it if I'm not mistaken if it's like a short phrase, like it can't be long.
Mm.
But and also like you can't be using it like to promote your stuff. Like you can't say like Coca-Cola endorses my book or something.
Mm.
But I'm
That
not an
makes sense.
IP lawyer, so I don't know. Don't It's not legal advice.
Mhm.
Next episode, IP lawyer.
IP lawyer, we
Yeah.
just gotta discuss it. The most boring episode ever.
we just harass him and then end it early.
Yeah, no. The only way to our advice is like intimidate the person who's trying to sue you and just show up at their house with like a bat. That's
Yeah, Tony Soprano style.
this is the only way. Get all of your samples cleared with this one easy trick. Yeah, but um, also like looking back, I'm looking at my notes right now. What was up with everybody arguing all the time? Like I did notice that like everybody was arguing the movie.
Yeah, that's really such a LA kind of like watching that movie is just like that is such the LA experience, walking around a big uh city like that with all that urban decay, you'll just see like people throwing up, shitting in the streets, yelling at each other. And if you have to take the bus everywhere, like in a place like that, it's just, yeah. It was a very realistic depiction, I feel like.
Yeah, I lived in Detroit for like 2 or 3 years, and I,
Oh,
I
wow.
definitely saw quite a bit of that. So
Okay.
I mean the contrast in the sort of nicer areas of downtown with just people cluttering the sidewalks, screaming at each other, shuffling around, shouting stupid shit, you know.
Yeah, because there's like multiple points in the movie where like he'll just go like, I'll fucking kill you," and he just like screams that over and over. He just like goes,
I'll
just, "I'll
fucking kill-"
fucking," yeah, it's just so
He
dope.
yells that at dogs mostly, but but he yells it at mainly dogs and black people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Based.
But yeah, he's just like, "I'll fucking kill you," and he just walks up to random people and stuff like that. So
And that's also a fantasy because, you can't get away with doing that all day. Someone's gonna just knock you the fuck out.
yeah, he's just gonna be,
Just
"Oh,
screaming
I'm filming a movie. It's okay that I shot. It's a movie, man."
centimeters from your face. I'm gonna scream and spit in your face, but it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Harmony Korine tried to do that, right? Like the
Yep.
movie after Gummo, was it? He tried to do one where he just go up and start fights with people without telling them, what he's doing, and it didn't
Yeah,
last long.
he would just go up to bouncers standing outside of bars, and he would just antagonize them until they started beating the living shit out of him. And I think he only got through like 3 fights before one guy uh beat the shit out of him and then jumped on his leg and like broke his leg or something, and then they're like,
Holy
all right,
shit.
we're done. We're
Yo,
done making the movie. And
was that?
David Blaine, camera guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he ever release that or?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's just like in the vault, lost to cinema history somewhere.
That sounds like real, like self-sacrifice. I don't know how it's like you're putting yourself on the line. It's pretty
Yeah,
dope.
dude. He's a fucking soldier.
Yeah.
At the same time, though,
Yeah.
like my more orderly, civilized side is saying like, man, as a bouncer, who wants to deal with that shit, bro? Like just some dude like trying to waste your time. That shit would suck.
Well,
That is true.
that's what
I'll
like
just
nuisance streamers and IP2 and those sorts of people like live that now, like every day.
Yeah, it's like every day there's like some dude doing like some kind of prank on YouTube, and you're just like, oh, this is civilization now, huh?
Oh my god. Yeah, I was watching something where it's like people that one of the newest trends is like they go to Lowe's and they they go on to like the highest shelf and they just start screaming, "I'm stuck and I can't get down."
Bro,
And the
what?
whole store has to help.
Dude, who got like? I guess someone has to go over this shit, but that just sounds crazy.
I mean, yeah, we've definitely come a long way since the jackass public stunt
Yeah.
and all that.
Oh, that makes
Yeah, that
sense.
stuff is very Harmony Korine, that, those people like you guys know about like Baked Alaska and his RV and all that
I know based
saga.
Alaska. I don't. What's up with
Remind
his
me about
RV?
that.
Yeah, so there's like, well, he, rushed the Capitol building and all that, but before that happened, he had legal trouble because he maced a bouncer. Because him and these other streamers would just do drugs and go up and harass people, and this bouncer wouldn't let him in somewhere, probably because he was being a piece of shit, and he maced the bouncer and got in a lot of trouble, legal trouble for that. But
Oh shit.
yeah, no, that should look up RV2, Baked Alaska, that sort of stuff. There's still clips out there, and it's just like the most like depressing, like it is staring into the void of humanity. That whole
Huh.
scene.
I forgot.
My
Like,
dad was a bouncer for a couple years, and he saw some really crazy shit. Definitely had to break up a lot of really intense situations. Was like in a
uh,
gunfight and all kinds of shit.
yo,
Uh,
was this like Detroit bouncing or something?
Yeah,
Okay, yo, that's crazy.
like literally. I fuck it because I don't think anyone who's gonna fucking know who I'm talking about. Okay. Some guy starts just walking across the street, just firing at the club, and
whoa.
my dad ducks behind a car and takes him out, and then his family, protests and does all this shit for like weeks outside the club trying to get my dad like arrested and fired and like all kinds of crazy shit because they wanted justice for their innocent boy.
Wait,
But
take him out as like, did he kill him or?
yeah, he killed him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, makes sense, bro. Don't like shoot fucking guns at a club. That's so retarded.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, yeah, bouncers do go through they deal with like the most heinous parts of the city.
That's insane. Like, I mean, I guess like I was, oh, it's like, why would you do that? But I guess it's like, oh, that's my brother or something. So he must have always been doing right, instead of just looking at the footage or some shit. But
Well, and that's the thing is like they had footage, so they could see clearly like this guy's just a fucking lunatic,
yeah, but no,
just
Yeah,
like
that's
that's nuts.
off his meds type crackhead shit.
dude, yeah, you should like totally like, I don't know if you would like should put that in the story, but like that sounds intense. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's like something
Mic
for a
drop
story.
story
Yeah,
right there. Sorry, guys.
yeah, gotta write it down right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I've got so many. Yeah, I've got so many crazy stories like that are slowly, making their way into my shit. As you'll see, King, the more I send you random shit.
Yeah, I know that's cool.
Yeah, I was reading your book a little bit before we had this interview. Yeah, I really dig it, man. Like the way you format it is really cool,
Hell
and
yeah.
content, it didn't disappoint in terms of like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like throwing in
Hmm.
some uh shocking things, and yeah, I really dig it. I like that style. And I haven't seen something like that, so
Hell
uh
yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Yeah,
yeah,
appreciate
I
Soap
it.
really
hits
like
hard.
it.
Soap scum hits hard for sure. Like that. There's the
Fuck
one thing
yeah.
you can say about soap scum. It hits like, bro, for sure.
Yeah,
I was just I mean, I was full of pent up lib frustration, and I was just not gonna be told what I could and could not write, and so I was just writing the most absurd, shocking shit I could.
I dig it. Yeah, it's really really cool read.
But thank you. I damn appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, pen's fire. But actually, yeah. Looking back, let me see. One thing I did know is I did like going back to Reflections of Evil because we like to stay on topic. I really loved
Mhm.
how 2000s it felt. Like, I mean, obviously it came out in the 2000s, but like I like the vibes of like how life was before social media, just stuff like that that just like really sets it in place. I miss
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like a sense of mystery too, because I feel like everything now, like there's no like secret hideout or place that you can like find. It's all like recorded on like some phone or somewhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were saying, Harmony is like we couldn't make kids today because the whole point of that movie is that one person can't get in contact with another. But if that were today, they would just fucking text each other, and the movie would be over in 2 seconds. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely nostalgic for seeing that era before everyone was just looking down at their phones. Trevor Moore described that exact moment where they're like filming whitest kids, and the day before there isn't an iPhone, and then the next day there's an iPhone, and everybody on set is just looking down now, and it just felt like, like life had just kind of changed or something. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm very nostalgic for that stuff too, just going back to before, this literally affected the way our bodies do things.
Yeah, because I was just
Yeah,
like,
I think we'll evolve like new digits and stuff like that, and it'll be interesting to see how we adapt to technology physically.
well,
Hmm.
I was just thinking like it almost like writes out like entirely like life now. You can't. I mean, you can't. It has to be a period piece, but you can't write certain genres. Like as you said, like if it's like a spy like movie, right, or something like. I mean, you can't have like the guy going to the shady payphone anymore, right? Like that scene or that vibe doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah, if
and
you do it in a modern context, it's just like kitsch or something.
yeah, like it just wouldn't work. Like I was just thinking, like would like police procedurals work in the future and stuff like that, or like like people making novels about serial killers. Like I don't think that could happen anymore because like you're always being surveilled. And I mean, I guess
Hmm.
the closest you could get, I guess, is like school shootings, like doing that. But like in the sense of like, oh, we can't catch this guy. I'm pretty sure you could catch the guy. I'm pretty, he's on video. It's not really a mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
watching that documentary, Sons of Sam, about Berkowitz and stuff, and he, uh, which I highly recommend that Netflix series because there's a whole crazy angle to the Berkowitz Son of Sam's murders, but yeah, like serial killing and stuff like that. It's just it has to have gone down, the viability of that as like a career nowadays just has to be in the toilet because they'll just catch you so fast.
Yeah, have you seen The Jinx?
Uh-uh.
What is that?
That one, that's about this guy who murdered a bunch of people, Robert Durst, and uh, it's honestly one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. Because like actual like progress and shit, like you can see it and it gets measured in both real life and in the doc. It's pretty astounding. But like the big crux of that is that he got caught stealing a sandwich from fucking Kroger or something, and that is that was like the key for them for all of these dominoes to fall. And it's like, okay, yeah, so it's just the surveillance culture has completely changed and eradicated every not every, but like so many aspects of what used to be life, and yeah, even down to serial killers.
Bro. I can't imagine, bro. You do all this high tech killing shit, you get fucked over by a sandwich at Kroger. That's depressing.
Yeah. You're like, fuck it, dude. I murder people. I can get away with a sandwich. And they're like,
Yeah,
nah, dude. You took a sub.
Mhm.
that's
You didn't
wild.
even grab a small sandwich. You grabbed the sub.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you deal with writing it? I've had that problem too, like, because people all text each other now to communicate. I text, how do you translate that into writing without it being off-putting? I mean, eventually, is it just going to be the norm that books will have like a bunch of texting dialogue? You know what I mean? Like what's going to happen with that? And how do you adapt to that?
I think it has to. I think that's like it's the future, and in a way, like it's kind of exciting because it's something that hasn't been done before, in a sense. Like there's always new stuff,
Yeah.
that's gonna happen, and it's just the way life is. You can't go back. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think every art form eventually kind of has to adapt to that, because you saw it with movies too. It's like now characters are talking through to each other through text. So how do we represent that visually? How are we going to make that either interesting, or a lot of people failed within the first few years of trying to do effects and figure out how they're doing it. I don't know if you ever saw House of Cards, but it was one of the first people. They were just like, well, why don't we just like see the text bubble just come up on the screen? Like, let's just like hear the ding and show the bubble come up. And so I think, yeah, especially contemporary writers who want to stay with the now, they're going to have to figure out, through uh, a trial and error process, how to, represent that or present it in a way that's not cringy or, engaging or something like that.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
it's.
no,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go
that's
on, Phil.
yeah, no, I just I agree. Yeah, that really is the thing. It's something, it's an inevitability, but it's going to be clunky. At the first go of it is going to be clunky and unnatural for what we're used to. But yeah, I think you're right. We got to just embrace and adapt with it.
It's just like
Mm-hmm.
even like thinking about. I mean, we're writing books theoretically, right? So yeah, theoretically, but like I just been thinking like how viable are like books like in terms of medium, like are even films viable now? Like is it just like social media and Twitch is like the future, you know? And it's I I don't know like how much people enjoy watching like a story nowadays rather than just like
Mm.
watching their favorite Twitch streamer react to a story or like a movie.
Mm-hmm. Because it's less commitment,
Yeah,
and it's more attention grabbing. Like if there's all these layers of like obfuscation or something, like separating you from like like a pure concentration or something, the better. So like, yeah, the the more editing, the more yeah, distance from just a singular pure patient thing, yeah, will succeed or whatever in this
yeah,
in this culture. I'm not too sure how relevant, these books and movies are, and how they're going to still be. I refuse to let them die because I'm just so passionate about them and want to just keep doing them. So
yeah.
even if they are culturally dead and dinosaurs or whatever, I'll just continue to make them and do my thing, because I think that's just what I've been put here to do.
Just like because I was watching this interview like a couple months back or something of like this band in 1975 because I listen to like music and stuff like that, and they were talking about like how they were talking to like an executive son or something, and like he was like, "What albums do you listen to?" And the kid was like, "I don't listen to albums," and he's like, "Okay, well like what songs do you listen to?" And like the kid like was like, "I don't listen to songs," and like that's when he realized that like kids only listen to like TikTok snippets now. So like they have
Yeah.
to know by the TikTok snippets. I was like, whoa, like people don't listen to albums anymore. Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Like my girlfriend, and it's kind of interesting because my girlfriend will, yeah, discover a song from a snippet, but then she'll actually do the hard work of being like, oh well, I like that, so now let me go find that album, and if I like that
Mm.
album, what's the other albums by that guy? And I don't think many people do that. I think they just, yeah, like you said, they're kind of like, they're conditioned to like that, the quick 15-second like bit that they hear over and over again or whatever, and that's the song they know.
Yeah, it's fascinating the way, some people, I mean, obviously, we're more the type of people to go down like rabbit holes like on Wikipedia or whatever, and just see like, oh, they did this film too, or they did that song too, or
Hmm.
this album. But most people, they just, it's just kind of, it's a nice, just kind of blissful, like, oh, that's cool, I like that. Yeah, but it's not like they have to obsessively figure out like who did vocals for that, what other bands were they in, and also, they, like you said, it's just that it's this TikTok snippet I like, and that's it.
Dude, like, do they even have like free time? Like, because I can't imagine people being that lazy. Like, because I would be like, oh, you like watch basketball games, right? You do sports ball. But if I think about it, these I don't know if these people are like active enough to even like watch a sports ball game.
Mm.
It's just a whole nother level.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do that like super short form video thing. Like I I don't know. I can't. I need something long that I could just play in the background, while I'm playing a game or something.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah. Also,
Yeah.
talking about like the future and like the past. I'm gonna drop a little spoiler here. So I'm working on like a western right now, and I'm not gonna say much more
Oh,
than that.
nice.
But what I
Go.
realized while writing it was, so I would like look up all these like, oh, like a train robbery and stuff like this, you know. But then I started writing it and I realized this shit is boring because like it's already been done before. like
Hmm.
like just writing like and just like doing like pastiches and stuff like that. It's just inherently boring, and I feel I feel like the only way to do a western nowadays is to not make a western at all and just put it in like, I don't know. You'll see. I'm changing things up a bit, but yeah, just um, it's like just doing the classic thing just doesn't work anymore. I don't think it's exciting, and like for any genre, like you kind of you can't rely on the tropes because they're just so ubiquitous. You know, they're not. There's no life to the energy of the ideas anymore. It doesn't reflect society and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's I recently was trying to do some like weird fiction pastiches and stuff. And it was kind of fun at first, but yeah, just like you said, like you can't I don't know, or like noir stuff I tried to do or and yeah, you can write like you said, like you can still make those kind of things, but it's got to be like you can't just go back and like try and skinwalk as these authors and but yeah, I don't know, I get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I don't know if you can explain it, but like if anybody has like tried it, like and you try like, oh, I'm just gonna do this classic thing, and it's gonna feel it doesn't work. It's so a super weird feeling. I don't know if you've ever done it either, Jesse.
Yeah, it's always I always get this like imposter syndrome sort of feeling, like because I don't know how I don't know I when it comes to trying to place myself in the past or something, I just started wishing like I could have actually been there so I could have like really random frames of reference that would only be particular to someone who lived in that time, because otherwise, yeah, I'm just projecting or doing, absurd autistic Google research and, hoping to stumble upon, some very interesting artifact that I can then expand on, but it all just feels phony to me, like like an imposter, because I didn't live it and I can't genuinely pull from it like I understand it. So that's why I tend to just write things that I do understand, really.
Yeah, I think this was like something that we talked about. Because I watched an interview from like Joseph Kahn and like
Hmm.
Adi Shankar that you've been showing me his movies and stuff like that, and like one of the things he pointed out was like because he was making a fan film, and he's like fan films are like they're just trying to do the same thing, but like in a I guess in a fan filmy way. I don't know how else to say it, but like people expect less from fan films and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and it's just it's a labor of love, but it's like it's just the same thing over again, and I feel like that's like that was exactly what was happening, I guess, right now in the right wing, where like it's just
Yeah.
like fan art, like oh, I make a western,
Yeah.
or like this is Lord of the Rings, or I make a medieval fantasy, but it's just Lord of the Rings fan art. That's all it is. It's not like anything interesting or new.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, there's some good I do enjoy some pastiche modern stuff, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like there's sometimes there's no going back and like, pushing forward is vital to keeping like an artistic community or scene going, not just saying like, well, I know this old stuff that people don't do anymore, I wish it was all just still that doesn't really last for that long.
Yeah.
No, and it doesn't like advance. If we're trying to be like a collection or a collective scene or something, it doesn't advance it in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're
By
just
like,
like,
yeah,
oh, we made elves again. It's like, bro, who cares, dude? Like,
Yeah.
I've seen the elves a million times. It's just,
Yeah.
it just starts to get, and I'm not saying they're not cool or like you didn't write a good story, but, I don't know. It's just not
it
hitting
tends
it.
not to be what I want to read.
Right.
Yeah. And like just Tolkien, like I think people who write fantasy, they just got the wrong idea. Like, I think fantasy is like over as a genre, like in the sense that like the next Tolkien isn't gonna make the next fantasy. They're gonna make the next genre that's like, I don't know, completely like the text based phone, whatever. This new genre.
Hmm.
And I think that's like the way to actually be like the next Tolkien is to just completely make a new genre rather than
Mm-hmm.
make another fantasy thing.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
speaking of that, anything in the future you could talk about, Phil, or anything cool happening?
Uh, just check out my Substack. That's where all the new things are happening for me. And yeah, I've got some different stuff in the works, but it's still very much in the works. But I've got a couple visions I'm following right now. Hopefully, the first draft will be done soon.
Okay,
Hell yeah.
sick. All right, and I guess yeah. What about you, Jesse? What do you got?
Uh, I showed you I'm kind of in the middle of this one short right now.
Well, just to be clear, I'm not talking about the future. Just like show yourself. But if you want to talk about what you're making in the future and spoil people, that's cool
Oh,
too.
just chilling in general.
Yeah, but you can spoil
Okay,
if you
yeah.
want. I don't care.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm always posting either my summarized thoughts on books in the scene, or I'm posting little short stories or whatever. You can go to Amazon or go to my Twitter, with the links in my Twitter bio to get my book Soap Scum, put out through Anxiety Press in the summer of 2024. That's about it.
All right. Well, yeah, and then obviously this is going to be on my Substack, King Cringe Substack. So, read all my stuff there. I spoiled it. I'm making a Western. You're going to see how different it is or not different. Who knows in the future. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be amazing. It's going
Yeah.
to blow my
I said,
fucking
Yeah, I
mind.
can't wait to check it out.
It's so good already.
Nice.
I don't know. Maybe I'll send some stuff to you later, Phil. See what you think. But, um,
Yeah, that'd be great.
in the know, we'll see.
Hell
This is
yeah.
only VIP only.
Right.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Exclusive. But yeah, thanks so much for being on, Phil. We really wanted to have you on, talk some stuff. And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
lot of fun.
and thanks for recommending Reflections of Evil, bad shit insane movie. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's definitely like I don't know if I'd say it's worth a watch, I wouldn't say it's my most favorite movie ever, but I'd say it's worth a watch. It's just
Hmm.
got crazy editing. What about you, Jesse? What do you think of the movie in general?
Yeah. I mean, besides it being, really tough, I'm glad that I had the experience of it, and I had never heard of it. It's really rare for me to have never fucking heard of something or never even seen an image of it before, and so I thought it was a real treat in that sense. It was a totally new experience.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
awesome. Glad to spread the awareness.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
we'll close off with this, Phil. Any like things you want people to see from Reflections of Evil after watching it or something like that?
Uh yeah, just make someone watch it with you, a significant other, a family member, force someone to sit down and watch it with you and be yeah,
All right,
subject people to this movie.
fuck them up. All right, that's good. That's great.